Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. It's Florida Deere. Today's video we're going to get into the installation of an H-3 kit. So we're going to take this not so average 455. As you can see here, we're going to go from there to here and give this thing a true H-3 kit to make it an exceptional tractor that you can not only operate both of the functions on the loader, but you can also operate the 3-point hitch independently as well. Alright folks, so here's the instructions. So they give you like color instructions, which I think is pretty cool, because if you've ever dealt with instructions that are in black and white, it's really hard to tell different things. You know, there's a lot of different shades of grays and blacks, but this is pretty top notch here. So
9 out of 10 tractor owners are colorblind.
Well, whatever, I'm not, so. Anyway, so there you go, and it goes over. I mean, he starts with a very simple set of instructions here about, you know, locking the brake and all that stuff. So we've gotten through a lot of this already, just doing the simple stuff, taking off the left side panel, about to take off the foot panel, already took off the seat pan. So we'll keep going with that, but just wanted to let you know that came well packaged, and here's all the material involved with it for the H-3 kit, and also an instruction manual on how to cut up the toolbox to make the thing fit. And he actually also has a cup holder version as well if you decide to go that route. So we'll keep going. So before we get started, I figured I would just lay out all the parts that the kit comes with. At least for this particular version, if you get the cup holder version instead of the toolbox, the setup might be slightly different, but here's the layout. Okay, other than step one being all the other stuff that we've done, which is prepare, as you can see here. And he has a loader, evidence right here, which is why we're doing the H3. We're going to take these service lines off that go from the valve to the rear attachment, so we're going to just plug these. That'll be the first step we take care of. Okay, so we got the two plugs on there. These things are disconnected, and we took this off right here, which was that part that held the hoses down, and then we're going to take this off and this off. Well, hold on. Yeah, that. But so he has the shut-off valve, as you can see here. So we're going to actually remove that whole thing. And you see this is a big mess right here. So this one's a little bit more involved. Yours will probably not look like this if you don't have the shut-off valve. So we'll try to get it straightened out here. But basically we're removing these two items from the rear cylinder, and we're going to take those out completely, and then we'll move on to the next step. So okay, just to give you guys some information, these right here and then that one right there were both 13/16, and then the ones that were actually screwed in there, which were those two right there, those were 15/16. So just like to keep the sizing known there. And then this was a 10mm. Okay, so this is what we've taken off so far. The hard lines are the stock lines that come with the 455. And then this little loop, and then the two soft lines are the shut-off valve kit. And then the handle goes right there that comes through the foot pan. And then, as mentioned before, these two are the fittings that were taken off where we put the plugs in off the bottom left-hand side of the tractor. And this is where, so we got these two, these two are right there, are the ones we've disconnected. They go to the rock shaft cylinder. Okay, so now we're under the tractor, about to take apart the the end of the drive shaft, and we're also going to get access to the steering valve right there. So we'll have to work on this. You know, the reason why we're disconnecting the drive shaft is to get access to removing and installing a new hose, and then the SV or SCV line is why we have to access the steering valve. So we'll get that and we'll update as we go along here. Steven's working on getting that drive shaft off first, and I'll try to figure out what else we need to do. So, and I think we're going to end up having to disconnect the oil cooler line as well, so we'll see. Okay, so here's just an update. We're about to take these items off right here, and then we've taken the drive shaft loose so we can get out this line up here that goes up and around that. We replace that with a different line. And if you've ever dealt with a steering valve, it's a huge pain in the butt, so that's kind of been a hold up, and I don't really have the angle. Let me see if I can get that. I don't know if you can see that in there. Kind of blindly putting the camera up there. So once we get that squared away, we'll be able to move on with the next phase of this. All right, folks, so what I did is before we mount everything to the tractor, we've just been disassembling some of the stock stuff. And so basically, the valve right here will mount to the inside frame just forward of the right rear tire. So it'll mount right with these 3 nuts right here. And then I've just kind of built the whole system so you can kind of see how it operates. So these 2 lines coming out of the top are the hard lines. They go up over your drive shaft and the other hydraulic lines, and then these will go to the cylinder, to the rock shaft cylinder. These lines go to, so this line right here, right there, that goes to the, right in here, so that goes right up there. And then that's why you have this fitting right here. And then this line, which is the bottom line, goes all the way to the steering valve. So that'll plug into the steering valve. So while the instructions are good, they don't give you an overall view of the whole system. So that's what I'm breaking down here. If you're like me, you have to conceptualize how the system is laid out on the tractor. So I've tried to do that by laying out all these hoses and the valve connected together. Okay, so here's the SCV right there, and I'm going to go ahead and attach these 2 lines right there while he's still working on the steering valve and getting the chain link squared away. And these 2 right here are going to attach to these 2 lines right there. And where's the other one? We'll find it soon enough. But I just wanted to give you that rundown. So I'm not quite sure how close to the end we are, but we're getting closer with this thing installed. And then we're still going to have to install the line, or the lever from here to further back there. So hopefully I didn't get too far ahead of myself in trying to do that. I do think that that probably needs to be anchored down first, and then it goes through those holes. One of those, either that hole or that hole right there, is where the lever goes through, and then it comes up through here. So I'll update you once we get more done. All right, folks, so we got these lines in here attached to our, I can't see it because of the light, but they're attached here and right here. And then we have this one that's actually going to attach to this line. This is a new fitting right here, and then this is the new hard line. That was sort of a huge pain in the butt to get in there, as the old line, which is sitting right here, was a pain in the butt to get out. So between this line coming through here, linking to the top outlet right here, and then the last line will be this one which this end will go to the right here, and then this line goes to the power steering valve, and then that makes the circuit complete. Okay, so this is the line that goes into it comes complete with this attached. I don't think the directions say to remove it, but we found it better to just remove this part, get this part installed, reinstall everything on the steering valve, and then we're going to reinstall this hose to that end once everything else is installed. You might find it easier to do it another way, but we try to install this completely. But to install the steering valve, this being in the way was just too much, so we decided to separate these two. Hey folks, so see these two new hoses right here? Well, that's just the new one right there, and then there's another one. I can't remember. But so that one goes, I believe that one goes into the... Okay, so I interrupted this clip to show you this still photo right here. The arrow is pointing to the hard hose that was installed incorrectly. That was the mistakes were made comment. So we had to reinstall that correctly. Steering valve, and then the other one, there's one of these other ones come down here that will attach to the new hard line up there that you see coming across, and we're having to work around these fuel lines, reroute some of that stuff, so you'll have to do some rerouting of fuel lines there as well. And so that's the update for right now. All right folks, so we are almost done here, so we're just going to just wrap up what we have so far. We started with these two plugs. We replaced the set nut there, and this is a new hydraulic line, so we throw away or store the stock line, because this line actually doesn't go directly to the steering valve. It actually goes to this line right here, which goes to the new selective control valve, and then this line coming out of the selective control valve goes to the steering valve. Okay, and then this is what it looks like too. You saw the picture before that I showed you laying on the ground. This is how you have these two lines make the full circuit to the rest of the tractor. And then this line is the rear of the rear line on the tractor that goes to the rear part of the, yeah, right there, the hydraulic cylinder. And then that of course goes to the other one. They actually, you can kind of tug on them like the directions say, but you can kind of line them up. They kind of sort of go in the position that you can kind of take that gamble probably. And then anyway, so we also have, as you can see here, we have the lever attached, which is right here. And you can see that rotate there. And then we still need to put everything back together. We put most of it back together. We're still working on the drive shaft. And then we also have this right here. So this is the little jam nut, and then this piece over here gets put on from the inside of the frame, which we have to tighten this giant nut down. And then here are the three nuts that attach the selective control valve to the tractor. And as you can see, there is still a lot of things we got to do, but we're getting close, so I'll update you when we're all done. Hey folks, so we are done the installation of the H-3 kit on this 455. So now instead of having the shut-off valve right here, which shuts this off, but then you can still use the dump feature or the bucket feature on the loader. The problem is when you open that up and then you can use the 3-point, then the bucket still moves up and down, so you're sort of splitting flow and pressure. Well, not pressure necessarily, but flow from one to the next. So then it moves the 3-point up and down slow. And with this, makes it a truly H-3 system. So you have these two circuits right here, which operate the boom and the bucket, and then you have this separate circuit which ties in through the hydraulic system but completes its own circle to be independent of the other two. So now you can move the mower deck and the 3-point up and down independently of these two levers over here. And we'll have a video where it shows that coming up. So after hooking up the shutoff valve from another tractor, and probably the 3 or 4 years that the shutoff valve had used, it had been compromised and wasn't working correctly. But this has fixed Stephen's issue pretty clearly, and also added the benefit of having the independent circuits to operate the 3-point as well as the 2 loader functions. So overall, this thing turned out pretty well. So if you like this video, you can hit the like button. Hopefully it was helpful to you if you were considering this or wanted to kind of do a step-by-step on the instructions of it. And if you wanted to see more videos with the John Deere garden tractors or the 1 Series, you can click on the subscribe button in your upper left-hand corner. I appreciate you watching. Good night. At the end of the install, this is what you should have left over of your remaining stock parts.